Hey everyone, happy Friday. Jo here at SportsGrid. It's time for a Puck It with Jo. Now, after a loaded slate yesterday, we've only got 2 games out there on the ice today. And I tell you, finding value in these games is hard. We've got massive favorites. The Winnipeg Jets, a $4 favorite, and over a $3 favorite here in the other one for the LA Kings. So let's have a great Friday. Happy Friday, Matt. Let's try to make some money in these games out there. So the first one we're going to look at is the Anaheim Ducks taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Like I said, Winnipeg Jets, massive favorite, minus 430 here at home, straight up on that money line. No value on the puck line here for the Winnipeg Jets. Laying 1.5 is minus 160. So we're going to look at some outlines in this one. If you believe the Ducks can keep it tight, plus 1.5 is plus 132. I can't touch that. I really do think this is a blowout win here for the Winnipeg Jets. We know this team with the addition of Tyler Toffoli. While he hasn't made an impact yet, I'm waiting for that impact to start. And I do think it has to be tonight. We need him to start connecting out there. So the total is 5.5 at minus 122 to the over. Now, could I see the Winnipeg Jets going over this total all by themselves? I absolutely could. So I wouldn't touch the under in this one at plus 100. I don't expect the Ducks to score much, and either do the books. The Ducks team total is coming in at 1.5. To the under is plus 130. I would take that before I took it to the over 1.5. I really do think they're completely limited in this one. Kev, happy Friday. Yeah, way too juicy. Let's look at these lines. Ron, happy Friday. Okay, so what I'm going to look at first here is Boussoit has been absolutely fantastic versus the Anaheim Ducks. 3-0-0 in his 5 games with the goals against average of 1.79. This is what we were looking at last night with Marc-Andre Fleury. Marc-Andre Fleury able to get the shutout win yesterday. So could Boussoit get the shutout? He absolutely could. The Anaheim Ducks, I don't trust. They're on the second night of a back-to-back. They're also playing their third game in 4 nights. Tired legs out there for them. John Gibson in net for the Ducks. So I'm looking for the Winnipeg Jets to do what they do best. They're going to lock down on the defensive side. They're going to get the protection to Boussoit out there. And I do think they're able to step up offensively. This needs to be their breakout offensive game. They have a 5-game road trip on deck. They have the Columbus Blue Jackets on Sunday, the New York Rangers on Tuesday, the Devils on Thursday, the Islanders on Saturday, and Sunday versus the Capitals. So big road trip ahead. I'm looking for an explosive night tonight out of them. They're sitting third in the Central with 87 points. Now they are 2 points behind the Avs and the Stars. So if they get this win tonight, we see exactly where that's going to put them. And it's a phenomenal position for them to be in because they are a couple games in hand over both the Avs and the Stars. So this will be a game that they're coming to bring their best. I'm going to take Boussoit for the shutout. You guys can check out those odds on your books. It's not available on all books. I'm not getting it right now on FanDuel. Actually, let me just double check. I wasn't getting it earlier in the day on FanDuel. And we're just getting alt saves for Boussoit on FanDuel. And I don't trust, I wouldn't take his goalie props, not because I don't trust him, because I think the Winnipeg Jets are really going to limit the amount of shots that Anaheim Ducks do put on him. So in this one, give me the Boussoit for the shutout if you can find it. Give me the Jets alt puck line. I'm going to lay the 2.5. That's coming in at plus 116. But I wouldn't be shocked if they covered the 3.5 puck line. That's coming in at plus 300. I do expect a 5-0, 5-1, 6-1 style game here for the Winnipeg Jets. I need them to start clicking offensively, and I think that they need to take advantage of the Anaheim Ducks in this situation. So the over 3.5 for their team total is in play as well, but it's too juicy, so that would be a parlay piece for me. It's coming in at minus 152. Now we're going to go back to Tyler Toffoli. I haven't ridden him these last 2 times to just get off the ship right now and for him to cash this tonight. So if you don't want to take Tyler Toffoli, I don't blame you, but I've got to get back on ship with him. He's plus 170 for the anytime goal. I think that has value, and I think the 2+ points at plus 350. I'm going to be hitting on those. If you want to save for bet Kyle Connor here for the anytime goal at plus 110, or Shane Monahan, I think is a solid one at plus 200. The Ducks are allowing those goals to rain in, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. And like I said, third game in 4 nights, and John Gibson hasn't been strong. So that's where I'm going with this one. It's gonna be quite the night. Morrissey for the points. Yeah, there is value. Rangers and the Lightning over 1.5 in the first. I tell you, KY, I sweated that one out. The Rangers able to get both of those goals. I was nervous coming into that last 10 minutes. And I wish I took the no goal in the first 10 minutes and then the over 1.5. Because that, if you could have parlayed that, I don't think you can parlay it on FanDuel, but it would have been an absolute moneymaker. But the Rangers able to get both of those. I tell you which game really was crazy. It was the New Jersey Devils with Jake Allen in net. I told you that save shot on goal prop looked crazy juice for the New Jersey Devils. And start looking at that, you guys. As soon as I look at games, I always look at what they're giving me for the goalie. And that's why I like doing this show late. Lots of people are always asking me to move this show to the morning. And yes, I could give you the show in the morning, but then you don't get... I would never have played the Devils yesterday over 2.5, even though I knew Jake Allen's numbers against, who did they play yesterday? I'm drawing a blank. Too many games. I'm already looking at tomorrow's. But as soon as you start looking at that and you start seeing where the books are giving you for the line value on the save shots for the goaltender, it really does help determine my decision. So Sam Montague had a solid day for his save shots, and Jake Allen was able to do it as well. So that's why I do the show later in the day. Yeah, it was a good night last night. Those last couple of games did not go the way I wanted. Calgary able to get the win, which was nice as a fan, but not able to do it. The Ducks under 1.5. Yeah, I agree with you, David. The Ducks under 1.5 at plus 130 is a phenomenal bet. I really struggle to see them scoring 2 goals in this one. But yeah, so we do the show late so that I have as much information as possible for you guys, because I really don't like not having that information. One thing also with the Ducks, they've lost their last 4 and they've been outscored 21-5 in that 4 game of losses that they've had. So they're absolutely struggling out there. And I do think the Jets, they can dominate in this one. The LA Kings taking on the Chicago Blackhawks is the later game. This one kicks off at 8:40. Chicago, the home dog at plus 230, minus 285 here for the LA Kings, total 5.5. Now you're paying the juice to the over 5.5 at minus 124. And I know it's tempting, especially when we look at the LA Kings, their ability to score in some games and then coming off a game in which Kempe only put up a goal versus the St. Louis Blues in that final third period. You expect them to offensively be frustrated and want to come out and take it out on a Chicago Blackhawks team that has been allowing these goals to come in, but also in their last couple, we've seen Connor Bedard on fire. I just can't get there. I got to take this one under, and if it bites me, it bites me. But you look at these teams facing each other, and the under is coming in at plus 102. We've seen a bit of movement. The goaltending matchup here is what I'm looking at. And yes, Soderblom has not been the greatest, and I give you that. But you look at Soderblom versus the LA Kings. In the last game out, he only allowed 1 goal to the Kings on 33 shots on net. He's got a 3.88 goals against average on his season and an 8.79 save percentage. So if you don't think he's going to have an on night like he did the last time versus the Kings, I would take this over. But I am guessing Soderblom will come out strong. Now, Cam Talbot has been phenomenally strong in this season, and he's been strong versus the Chicago Blackhawks. An average of 2.18 goals per game and a 9.30 save percentage. And yes, goalies can have an off night, and taking an under 5.5 is a scary situation. But we know the defense of the LA Kings. Could this be a 4-0 game for the LA Kings? Yes, and then we still cash. So I'm more willing to put my money on the under 5.5. I have put my money on the under 5.5. I just think it's a more likelihood of cashing in this one. So Soderblom versus Cam Talbot. We've got the LA Kings coming in here third in the Pacific. They need this win, 77 points right now. And the Chicago Blackhawks, 8th in the Central. They've only got 41 points on the season. Now, when we look at these two teams faced up, this is a really interesting thing. The last 3 matchups, the Kings have won the last 2. Chicago won the one prior. All of these games have been 2-1 finishes, with the last game finishing, that was in Chicago with Kings winning. Kings won the one prior. Chicago won the one before that. But those last 2 before this one that happened in January were both overtime determining games. So Chicago plays the LA Kings actually pretty tight from what we've seen in the last 3. Could we have another 2-1 game? We absolutely could. I do think it's worth looking at the Chicago Blackhawks here. Plus 1.5 on that puck line, just because I do think it's going to be a low scoring game. That's coming in at minus 110. And I do think with the Kings schedule, with the Stars on deck tomorrow, and you've always got to look at those look-ahead situations. Are they going to overlook the Chicago Blackhawks? Well, the likelihood of that happening coming off that loss versus the St. Louis Blues, knowing that they need to record that win, is probably not there. But I do think it's worth a little bit of a sprinkle, especially when you look at Chicago and how they've kind of come together all of a sudden. You know, you had Connor Bedard go on an 8-game skid where he wasn't able to find the back of the net. He wasn't lighting the lamp at all. And then he comes out, and the points and the goals that he's been able to record in those last two, it's like teams get their groove, they get the momentum, they get that behind them and their faith in each other, and they start to go on these winning streaks. Now, such a big dog at home. You guys know I have to put a little bit of money on them. I love a home dog, and at plus 230, I'm willing. But I think the best bet is the under 5.5 in this one at plus 102, and then plus 1.5 for the Chicago Blackhawks and plus 230. Now, if you're looking at goal scorers, Drew Doughty has registered an assist in his last 4 games, so he's been really strong at getting those assists on the board. You could look at him there. And then Tyler Johnson for the Chicago Blackhawks has scored in the last 3 straight. So he's getting those assists out there from Connor Bedard and some of his other teammates. He's able to find the back of the net. But Bedard has 8 points in his last 2 games, 11 points since the start of March. So he's racking it up. He's on a hot streak again. You look at Connor Bedard for his points, but this is going to be a lower scoring one. And the problem with Bedard, when you start looking at him for those points, they want you to take 2+, and in a low scoring game, unless Chicago runs away with this, which they could. So let's do this tonight. Kev liking David's Ducks under 1.5. I do think it's a strong way to go. You're leaning the under. Both goalies are playing well. Soderblom, yeah, he's been playing fantastic in some of those games. So the Blackhawks puck line will sprinkle on the money line. I cannot disagree. I think it's a good way to go. Bugs me the momentum and scoring as of late. I hear you, especially if you're not a Chicago Blackhawks fan. 14 goals last 2 games. And that's the problem. You've seen Chicago. This is the first time, you guys, since I believe it was 1992 that the Chicago Blackhawks have gone back-to-back games scoring 7 goals. With these last 2 wins. So they are on fire right now. Let's see what they can do tonight versus the LA Kings. The Kings defense will lock down in this one. Kemba Talbot's being too hot. Yeah, 1992, Kev. It's been absolutely insane. We got that shutout last night. It was fantastic. So hopefully you guys were able to get it on your books, because some books do not offer the shutout. So that's why I don't give them out very much. But it's going to be a great night. If anyone's getting the shutout tonight, give me Boussois. Could Soderblom or Cam Talbot here? I don't know. Could we see Soderblom get a shutout? That would be pretty fantastic to see. The LA Kings have not been scoring. Like I said, Kempe got 1 goal versus St. Louis Blues on Jordan Binnington. We will see what happens. You guys, all the best in all of your bets. It is Friday. You guys have a fantastic Friday. Don't forget, I'm live on Game Time Decisions with Kevin Welsh tomorrow morning, so make sure you come and join us. I will then do a couple of Puckett Cup of Joes, so stay tuned for those, and then we will go live for a Puckett just Puckett, the normal Puckett, you guys, before I go live on SportsGrid tomorrow night. I am live on SportsGrid. The hours have changed. We are now running from 7 to 10 Eastern tomorrow night, so make sure you come over and join myself, Scott Wetzel. We're going to have fun. You guys, I will see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye now. And be good this Friday. And happy St. Paddy's Day to anyone I don't see between now and then. Bye, guys.